Episode 3 has dropped, and we're seeing a lot of new stuff that hasn't been in promotional material. There are still a few things, though edited differently, but a lot of new stuff. We also see a few things that hit hard at previous predictions that I made, which happens. So, let's go through it, shall we? I'm Ollamh, and welcome to Attorney-at-Geekness. As is standard for a Marvel series, there's a previously on segment that thankfully is under a minute. Guess they decided that is a reasonable time for catching people up. We jump right into it with Jen confronting Emil about his escape and cage fight in Shang-Chi. Now, we do need to talk about this. Why did the person who captured the video sit on it? The answer is kinda simple. Before his parole hearing was announced, Abomination wasn't news. It might have even been released, but disregarded as a fake video, especially with the use of magic, which the general public doesn't really know about. Emil states that it wasn't his fault that he was forced to leave his cell by Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme. Jen has her paralegal friend Nikki hunt Wong down, since his testimony is key to her possibly still being able to win the parole case. Jen also breaks the fourth wall, letting go of the wheel of her car, which raises a lot of questions about, is this part of the show or her pulling out of the show? I love the fact that it's all up in the air, and we're not really sure if it's a Zach Morris or a dirtbag style fourth wall break. The news, social media, and everyone else is jumping on She-Hulk. Legitimate news questions her qualifications, and random bloggers talking about, taking Hulk's manhood away and giving it to a woman. I will say this, the writers knew the reaction to their show. The amount of fragile male egos that have been hurt because of She-Hulk is pretty high, including comments like, "We gotta have affirmative action with superheroes," and "No more superheroes, please!" Or, "Why are you turning every superhero into a girl?" And the kind of meta, "Someone needs to find a reason to cancel She-Hulk." Now, Jen is very ambivalent about the whole thing. She doesn't want to get involved in the media circus about her powers or anything other than the case she's working on. She just wants Emil to have a fair hearing. She's quickly saved from the conversation about the media by Holloway, who has a new client for the Superhuman Law Division, Dennis, the misogynistic asshole from Jen's old job. He was scammed by an Asgardian light elf who pretended to be Megan Thee Stallion and got him to pay off her debts. Holloway actually sticks up for Jen, referring to her as Miss Walters when Dennis rejects her. Welcome to the B-plot, everybody. The first real B-plot of the series, actually. Another lawyer, Mallory Book, is presented as being part of the Superhuman Law Division as well, but Dennis says he can't talk to a 10 about embarrassing man stuff, showing that he's a disillusioned man's man because she could be his next fiancée. That's interrupted when Wong teleports in, and we find out that my prediction about Wong was very wrong. Wong did break Emil out of prison against Emil's will, saying he needed a worthy opponent as part of his training to become Sorcerer Supreme. Wong says that he knows what she's thinking, and he's not erasing everybody's memories again. Now, this brings up the biggest problem that people will have with the series, the time framing. It's supposed to be shortly after Shang-Chi, and before Spider-Man No Way Home. But in No Way Home, Wong is against using the spell, and Strange mentions the full moon party at Kamar-Taj, which Wong doesn't remember. That shows that Wong and Strange have used it a few times, which is why Wong is against using it. It doesn't have anything to do with No Way Home. It's a general resistance for Wong to use the runes of Kaf-Kal. Jin also rejects the idea as highly unethical, and She-Hulk may be part of the reason why Wong strongly rejects the idea in No Way Home. Wong says they'll reserve sorcery for Plan B, which shows that he's still willing to use magic to resolve legal mundane problems. Now, maybe Wong learns that magic can't be used to solve non-magical problems, and grows to be a better Sorcerer Supreme because of it, unlike Strange. The shape-shifting light elf keeps trying to derail the legal problems by impersonating various people, including Dennis and Dennis's lawyer Pug. Jen goes to the cube for the hearing, facing a media frenzy with questions about rumors that she was rejected by the Avengers, who aren't even a thing anymore, but shows, again, how much the public knows about the superhuman world, which is next to nothing. While waiting for Wong, other character witnesses come forward. A librarian who says that the literacy program is much better off because of Blonsky. The library isn't just a quiet place to shiv someone. A guard who Blonsky helped save from a bad marriage. And that Blonsky started a meditation and yoga program. Wong finally shows up at the last minute, having lost track of time, which I can't help but feel is a joke about the loss of the Time Stone from the guardianship of the Sorcerer Supreme. After Wong's first statements, we switch to the B plot and find out the Light Elf, while having diplomatic immunity in New Asgard, doesn't have it in the US. The judge rejects a request for dismissal, and the Light Elf impersonates the judge, which is severely frowned upon. We cut back to Wong's testimony, stating that he did remove Emil Blonsky from his cell against Emil's wishes, and even offered him sanctuary at Kamar-Taj, which Emil rejected, demanding to return to his cell to serve out his sentence. When questioned about the fact that Emil could turn into the Abomination and rampage again, Emil does transform and show that he's still in control. Not the best example, but it does kind of help prove its case. He has changed from the mindless beast, just like Bruce did. After a very solid closing argument from Jen, the board adjourns for the day to consider and consult about their decision. There is a hint at the future, with the head of the board saying that Wong committed a crime in pulling Emil out of prison. Wong, in true Sorcerer Supreme fashion, just sling rings himself out of there, trying once again to use magic to avoid legal mundane issues. Also during the hearing, we find out that yes, the 7 women in white are in fact Emil's soulmates. But we don't find out much more than that. The land is going to be used to start a meditation retreat, not easing the idea of a cult recruitment facility for someone like the leader. Back at the Legalese, the 2 stories meet up, as Jen points out while breaking the fourth wall yet again.
Connecting the A and B story? Nice.
A bit of non-direct fourth wall break, there's a social media story that Jen is pregnant with Abomination's baby, hinting at the idea of children of Hulks, both in Scar and the Hillbilly Hulks, where she has Bruce's children. Pug complains about Dennis, which causes both Jen and Nikki to complain about his sheer insanity. Pug jumps on this by asking Jen to come in as a witness, and she testifies that Dennis is not in touch with reality and would really believe that he could pull Megan the Stallion. The Light Elf, via the judge's verdict, has to pay damages and spend 60 days in jail for impersonating a judge. Dennis complains that it wasn't really fair. She's getting a slap on the wrist and should have her powers removed so she can't victimize anyone else, which Jen uses to secure Emil's freedom by the way of the inhibitor that Bruce used.
Oh, did Dennis Bukowski just give me an idea? That will stay between us.
Sure enough, Emil is released on parole immediately, provided he doesn't turn into Abomination ever again. Emil also states that Jen should get into the public stories. They're gonna do it anyway, and she might as well be a part. Which she does, agreeing to an interview which doesn't really focus on the case, her career, or much else than the buzz around her. Arriving home, Jen is accosted by a gang with some super-powered weapons. This, I am absolutely sure, is the Wrecking Crew. When asked by Jen if they robbed an Asgardian construction worker, they admit, reluctantly, that yeah, they did. One of the Wrecking Crew tries to get some of Jen's blood, but as she was in Hulk form when they tried, he got nothing. It's stated that the boss is going to be really mad. Now, this could mean Titania, but I think it's really going to mean the leader. There's more criminals trying to get at Jen, just like Titania did before. And to further push the leader theory, is nobody else has really tried to get Hulk or She-Hulk's blood. The leader, as Stern, was absolutely obsessed with Hulk's blood. Very specifically his blood. That is what he used to create Abomination. So it makes sense that the leader would be still focused on getting some of the Hulk blood to experiment and come up with something. Potentially for the Wrecking Crew. The post-credit scene is Jen signing on as Megan the Stallion's personal lawyer. After the ink is on the dotted line, they dance and twerk together. Now, Holloway sees this, but just kind of shrugs it off. He's not so stuck up that he won't let his team blow off some steam in their offices during working hours. So that was episode 3, and while yes, it's a bit of a blow to part of my prediction that Wong took Blonsky out of his cell against his will, I don't think that it shoots down much more than that. Emil Blonsky is still released. Jen proved that he's not a monster using both Emil's words, Wong's testimony, and the teachings of Bruce Banner. There's still a mysterious boss that sent the Wrecking Crew after She-Hulk, and the Emil Blonsky case set up some of the precedents for another gamma-powered baddie to be freed. So what do you think about episode 3 of She-Hulk? Do you think that the Wong thing is a severe blow to my theories or just a minor point? Who do you think is the boss behind it all? Is it Titania, Holloway, the leader, or possibly somebody else? I'd love to know your verdict on the episode, so please leave a comment down below, and while you're down there, consider prodding the subscribe button as well. As always, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned for more from Ollamh Productions. Video adjourned. Hey, thanks for watching to the end. If you like our videos, you can help the channel grow by giving it a like and sharing it for others to enjoy. If you want to help the channel out even more, you can find our Patreon link right down there. And of course, other videos here to enjoy yourself.